So I want to talk about a couple strategies that restaurants need to be doing constantly, and this goes for really any other business as well, but restaurants especially. And two activities that need to be constantly done to ensure that you have a successful restaurant. We were out to dinner the other night, and somebody in our group, it was Courtney's birthday, my daughter's birthday, somebody in the group goes, Marcus, who used to work at a restaurant, he goes, working at your restaurant, he made a comment like, man, you guys did a lot of training, and I thought it was a lot of training and this and that. He goes, I work at another restaurant now, and he goes, the part that sucks is we split tips, we pool tips at this other restaurant, and he goes, they don't do any staff training. He goes, everything I do there is because I've learned from working with you guys and what you guys are doing. And he goes, I'm the only one that can open a bottle of wine in the whole place, and I have to split tips with other people that are just not as competent as me, and all that came back to you guys, so thank you very much for all that training you did. And while this was happening, we were at a restaurant ordering 3 bottles of wine for the group, and only one person in the restaurant actually knew how to open a bottle of wine. They had to send over the general manager to open a bottle of wine. And this whole thing made me think, man, like I've always said, like training is something you do, not something you did. So, and there's also another activity that is something you always have to constantly do. That other activity, the 2 activities that make a restaurant successful, part of what makes a restaurant successful besides good food and good service, 2 activities that people don't think of are constant training and constant marketing. Those 2 activities right there need to be constantly done in a restaurant setting. And sometimes the staff doesn't quite understand why you keep training and this and that. And there's several forms of actual training that you can do for your staff. So it's not like you're sitting in the classroom constantly to do training. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We got a lot of people tuning in. I'm doing live on 2 separate channels right now. So if you're watching live, drop a comment, #live. I see another fellow restaurant owner on right now, Jim, out of Washington State. And Jim's saying constant recruiting. That is crucial too. So Jim, I'll agree with you. 3 things a restaurant needs to do constantly: market, train, and recruit. Constantly recruiting. Jim has mastered the art of recruiting staff. Jim is always constantly having job fairs. Even if Jim doesn't need a person on staff, Jim is advertising that job. I really love Jim's philosophy on that. You just constantly recruit people because you never know who's going to leave at what time or what kind of position can open up. So very successful restaurants are always constantly marketing and always constantly training. And you can tell when you walk into a restaurant how well the staff is trained or not. Just because, simple questions you ask, the way they answer the phone, the way they don't greet the door, the way they interact, or the way they're like, I just don't know, and they walk away. And one thing that annoys me the most at a restaurant is when I actually speak up and say like, oh, I'm not quite happy with this dish, and they just don't say anything to me ever again. They don't get the manager, they don't get anybody, they don't take care of it, they don't fix it. They're just like, yeah, okay, and they walk away. So that for me is extremely frustrating when I go out to eat. But the 2 things, and thanks to Jim's help there, a little input on recruiting, the 2 things that have to be done in a restaurant to make sure that they are a successful restaurant is constant training and constant marketing. Those 2 things. I have a great podcast that we just started airing some episodes on. It's a little quick 15-minute podcast called In the Weeds, and I always ask my guests, what's more important? What's more important, good food or good marketing? I ask that question. And not one person has said good food yet only, exclusively. They all say, well, yeah, you need good food, but marketing is crucial. And you can have a not so good location now, but as long as your social media presence is on top and you're out there talking about your place, your social media presence can actually overcome a bad location. 15 years ago, the rule was when you open a restaurant, location. That's what every expert said, location. Now it's marketing. The way you market is on Facebook. So I'm going to go out for my run now. Oh, Michael's on. Hey, Michael Leek, who is a former restaurant owner. Michael, are you still involved in a restaurant? I was looking up your restaurant this summer because we were down in Long Island, and I couldn't seem to find you at the restaurant anymore. So if you can comment, that'd be awesome. Michael and I and Jim were in a mastermind group for a long time. where we discussed all kinds of marketing strategies for restaurants. So that's where I learned a lot of the stuff on marketing. But I'm going to go out for a run here in a few minutes, go out for, I don't know, maybe a 4-mile run here with my Border Collies. I've been working on my new funnel. I'm going to be launching a new funnel to offer all these courses and my books and my coaching services. So one of my assistants and I were working on that for the last couple of hours, and super excited because that funnel is going to start taking place. Start filming some new videos today. We're modeling some other funnels, doing some research. So yeah, super excited here. But those two things, with the addition of Jim's thing, constant recruiting, constant marketing, and constant training, is a must that needs to be done in restaurants. There's nothing more annoying than when a guest comes into your restaurant and can't get simple questions answered or phones. And training, I believe, because it's constant, it needs to be concerned. Like, I explain to my staff all the time that I'm the coach, and when you see a player in a basketball game or a football game run the wrong play, make a mistake, the coach tells them right then and there, this is what I was expecting, this is what you should be doing, this is the play we should be running, okay? And I treat my staff just like this is the play we're running, guys. The phone's ringing, this is the play. The phone's ringing, there's a specific protocol to answering the phone. And if you don't answer the phone correctly, I'm going to say, remember how you answer the phone, remember how we do this, remember how we do that, and guide them along the way and do constant on-the-job training. On-the-job training is one way to train. Formal classroom settings another way. Virtual training is another way. So there's many ways along the line to train a staff. So don't think you need to be actually in the classroom to train a staff, because that's not what it's about. It's constant for us on-the-job training. And of course, if you're talking about everything they're doing wrong, make sure you talk about everything they're doing right as well. So that's part of training as well as reinforcing. Inheriting 2 Border Collies has taught me a lot lately. Both my parents had passed away this last year, and they had 2 Border Collies. And the one Border Collie had reverted and gone into a little depression and started going to the bathroom in the house. And this dog is 6 years old. So I found myself for the first time probably in years having dogs, because I haven't had dogs since I was a kid, and trying to train a dog who now has bad habits. And I did all those kinds of research, tons and tons of research on video after video, talking to dog experts, and because your first reaction is to point out what the dog is doing wrong and rub their nose in what they just did. And of course, when you do all the research and talk to the experts, are saying, no, that's the farthest thing you want to do, because you're reinforcing a bad behavior, and you want to enforce good behaviors. So crucial part of staff training is reinforcing great behaviors, good behaviors. And that is really one of the keys that a lot of restaurateurs, a lot of bosses, a lot of business owners in general often overlook is encouraging and reinforcing the fantastic things that are happening on the staff. All right, everybody, I'm going to go out for my run now, and talk to everybody later. Until next time.